If you're a fan of Sega, then there's a good chance your love for the company started with this console, the Sega Genesis. There were hundreds of games made for the system, covering almost every genre imaginable, and thankfully, collecting games for the Sega Genesis is still affordable. But of course, there are some games that stand out from the rest, even with a small price tag. So I've gone through my collection and picked out 5 of the best, yet affordable games I think anyone should own for their Sega Genesis collection. So let me get the most obvious out of the way. Sonic the Hedgehog games. No surprises here, right? Yeah, it's technically not one game, but I could fill this whole list with just Sonic games. Sonic, of course, is still considered by many to be the flagship series for the Sega Genesis. And for good reason. These games are just plain fun. They helped raise the standard for platformers back in the early 90s. Nowadays, you can almost always find Sonic games at flea markets or retro game stores for cheap. If you don't own any Sonic games for your Genesis, what are you waiting for? Go get it, I'm serious. Strider. Many titles released early on for the Genesis were arcade ports, and Strider is no exception. Basically, it's a side-scrolling action game that has you fighting off communists, robot animals, and an Emperor Palpatine ripoff. It's a short game, and if you know what you're doing, you can actually beat it in less than 20 minutes. However, it's fun, memorable, and easily worth your budget. Number 3 is Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master. Another highlight of the Genesis was the Shinobi series. Starting first with Revenge of Shinobi. Of the 2 on the Genesis, I prefer Shinobi 3. The game is comparable to Strider in that it has you fighting off an absurd multitude of zany bad guys, but the game plays a whole lot smoother. This is a guaranteed bang for your buck. Plus, who doesn't love ninjas? This list wouldn't be complete unless there was at least one multiplayer game on here. Another Sega arcade port, Golden Axe is a fantasy beat-em-up game where you and a second player team up to fight the forces of evil, complete with magic power-ups and dragon riding. It's a short game, but well worth the price tag. I played the hell out of this game as a kid, and it's still satisfying to this day to hear those enemy deaths. Here's a game I never hear anyone talk about anymore. Rocket Knight Adventures. If you haven't heard of it, here's the gist. You play as a possum named Sparkster, who runs around with a sword and a jetpack, clearing the land of enemy robots and pigs. That's right, you heard me, pigs. There was a time before Angry Birds, thankfully. I miss those days. Overall, pretty simple stuff, but boy is this game fun. The game went on to have a sequel called Sparkster, for both the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. You can still pick up this cartridge for under $25, so grab it before the prices go up. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, there's plenty of great but affordable Sega Genesis games to add to your collection. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments below what games I missed. Who knows, maybe I'll make another top 5 video. Catch you next time.